Welcome to the Tris Brina Show. I be the Tris.
I be the Brina.
And today we are talking about how to develop your intuition. Mm-hmm. Something that's muy importante for all of us, seeking that clarity.
That's right. And in this episode, we're going to focus on, we'll say 3 ways.
3 ways.
Three ways to listen to and develop your intuition. But first, I would love, because we have so many people here live, if you want to tell us in the chat, how do you feel your intuition? Would you describe it as a gut feeling, as a hunch, as an inner knowing? Do you feel it in your body? Do you see it as a picture? Or are you just like, it doesn't talk to me, baby? How do you feel it? And then, after you answer that, do you trust it?
Do you listen to it? Do you doubt it? Do
Yeah.
you mute it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, as you're feeling into that, please do, those of you joining us live, pop that in any of the chats. We are able to read them across the universe, and we'll dive into the topic. We'll kind of kick this off, as Sabrina said, with the 3 ways. And this, of course, is going to tie into the method that we teach, Satori method, which is all based on energy work and energy medicine. What we, over the years, have come to notice, key word here in today's conversation, the art of noticing, listening, has to do with these energy centers in the body. But we'll relate this.
I got stuff to say before that.
Yeah, I know you do. I won't dive in, I promise.
Okay.
I will not hog your show.
All right.
I'll just do the little tris.
Yeah.
And then you, Brina!
It's the Brina
show tonight. But we will tie this in and wrap this into energy work as well as what we all probably think, feel intuition is. You're going to get a lot of light bulb moments.
Yeah, I was just going to say, since we were children growing up, we were taught, the 5 senses. See, hear, taste, smell, touch. Mm-hmm. But in my opinion, we are all born with 6 senses. And that 6th sense is the intuition. It is the internal guidance system. It's whatever you want to call it. But it's there, and it is as powerful as your vision, as probably more.
A lot more.
Because it comes from an energy. If we are one with everything, if energetically we are all connected and we are all one, doesn't it just make sense that energetically we would pick up on things before the eyes see them, before we smell it, before we hear it, before we taste it, before we touch it, then we would feel it. That's why people say things like, I just knew I should not do it, or I just knew it was going to be great. I just have this hunch. I don't know. Or, I don't know. And I love the stories that they've done all these studies with animals, particularly dogs, and how the dogs can sense when their owner, the ones that light them up, when a owner has been away, I won't call it owner, when the
friend,
when the human friend that the dog is so in love with has been away for a few hours and they see them again, the tail wagging and the brain dump and the love, they said, is similar to when a teenager has a crush at a first love and is just completely drunk on love. That's what dogs' brains do, like every time they see you. But a dog can sense its owner coming home when he's a couple miles away or she's a couple miles away. They say you can just watch, and the owner can be driving around. When it's like within a mile, they go to the door. They know because they aren't conflicting with that energy. It's just part of what they are. They pick up on energy.
That's beautiful. There are some really nice, cool things that are being shared right now. I'd like to pop a couple of these into the conversation. Nick says, I feel it in my body, my heart, my head, and all over, really. And then I listen to it and talk to it in my head first and then out loud oftentimes. I love that, Nick. Debbie McMasters, she says, I feel it in my gut. And when she's relaxing, this is interesting. Cheryl says, in my head, heart, and soul, and it is so strong. I've got another one here that's great. Valerie says it's a collective consciousness for her, and it's really, really high. And one more for now. Darshana says, inner knowing for me. She calls it the inner knowing. It took me a long time to realize, but it's always there.
Yes.
It's always there.
Yeah.
You're on it. And I can actually ask it yes and no questions. And let me go back to that a little bit.
That's what a lot of people do when they use like a muscle testing or a pendulum.
And even know if I can trust the answer or not, because my wanting beliefs might be in the way. These are great, guys. Good
Really,
springboard
really great.
for this conversation.
I love that you say always there, because my belief, my experience is that I am always seen because I am always blended with source, that I am that.
Do you want to
right?
explain blended again for some of our new friends?
Right, blended. So you can say the physical me, the visible me, and the invisible me, the spirit, that during my human life, they're blended together. They're not separate. So even though we have to use words sometimes like I am connecting to something higher, well, in that sentence alone, you just became completely separate from it. But we've all experienced that love inside of us, that Holy Spirit inside of us, that life force inside of us that is a part of us. So I call that blended, that it's blended together, that the beautiful experience and the gift of the human experience is being this incredible blended consciousness, not trying to know yourself solely as the invisible, right? Because then why bother?
What's the point of the body? Right.
What's the point? Do that later. Is to get to experience all the feelings and all the contrast and all the challenges and all the emotions and all the choices and all the yearning
Heaven
along with
and
it
earth.
being blended. Heaven and earth unite.
There it is. Beautiful. So let's jump in for a moment to this energy conversation. So we love energy arts. We call ourselves life force artists from time to time. And here's some artistry for you. So Debbie McMaster said she feels it in her gut. There is a second brain, they say, with the gut and the micro and your tummy literally is picking up information and sending and feeding it to the brain. But in the art of Qigong, this area is known as an energy center, much like in yoga, energy center, and it is the lower dantian, and it is a brain of its own. And you have another one in your heart. We call that the brain of your being. So this one in the tummy, that more primal gut instinct is very physical. It's very much about the five senses. Right? You feel it in your tissues sometimes. You just feel it organically, viscerally, like, oh, I feel this. Sometimes it really knocks you right in the belly, right? So there's an intuition. We're going to kind of create a 3-part intuition package. So that's one cylinder.
So what can you do with that information? Like, how does that help you develop your intuition? Well, you could notice the way that you feel physically when you think about something or when something happens. So my power center, my gut feeling is really, really strong, especially when it's a no. Especially when it's a no. But the cognitive brain can throw that logic in so fast and try to override it because we've been used to coping with just 5 senses. So you have to start really respecting that 6th sense. So it takes noticing. When the situation first happened, did you feel like a shrinking away, or did you feel an all in?
Like a contraction or an expansion.
Before logic. So let's say there was a program you were thinking about participating in. We're not selling anything tonight, don't worry. There was a program you were interested
I can
in.
find something to sell.
And you heard what they were offering, and like, oh my, I think they are created this for me, and you can feel this yes, right? And then maybe they reveal the price or the date or something, and there's this downer. And to me, that would be like, that excitement is my intuition, and then sometimes the data comes in and shuts it down. So I'm always looking for before, because it can be fast. The more you practice listening to how you feel, the slower it'll be. If you make feeling what your body feels the priority, you're going to start feeling that the most. Do you feel in your body, the body does certain things when it's scared. The heart rate might go up, when you're excited, but you know the difference. It might shake, it might sweat. You could feel a little dizzy. Like the body is giving so many clues. It's one of the ways that the energy talks to you, because you're interacting. So we've explained many times the reason we call ourselves Trisbrina. Trisbrina is the name of where our two energies connect, where our two energies commingle, and that's what we both love, and that's because both of us are experiencing Trisbrina. So when you have a reaction to something, it's your reaction to your energies are already mingling with it, whether it's actually happened yet or not in the physical world. You can commingle with the idea of it and the energy of it way in advance. That is intuition, and it is a real gut feeling, but it's a whole body feeling, almost like an animal instinct, the way that we talked about the dogs.
So we can also evolve that instinct from it being just a feeling of primal. So sometimes it can feel fear, right? I feel fear in my stomach, and some people say that's my gut instinct. Ooh, this is intense. This is spooky. This is scary. But you could evolve the vibration of that into the whole body, and the whole body becoming, like we've been saying lately, a hearing aid, and the body being able to perceive. So if you can bring your reactivity down, you can bring your perceptivity up. So if you can calm the nervous system, if you can live in a healthy, happy, harmonious body, you actually are going to pick up more data.
Yeah.
Everything is information, right? And we're going to continue to unpack the three brains, basically.
Yeah.
But this belly brain, so beautiful if you learn to truly trust and listen to it, and you can develop it by developing your container, opening your skin, getting your energy channels to unblock, clearing stagnation, actually really, like somebody mentioned muscle testing, or you may have. And so you're asking the body.
That was me.
This lady right here who said muscle testing, those of you who know, like asking the body a question, trying to see, is this raising the energy and the strength in the body, or is this weakening, dampening the energy to get the yes and no? You have to do a calibration for that. But here's the thing. Your body is giving you feedback. Where's this data coming from? What is this that we're connecting to? And there's many conversations there in applied kinesiology, et cetera. But the key point here is that your body and your senses and your power center and your gut instinct all can work in your favor. Don't come from a fear place. Open and expand your system, your container, to give you this information. Okay, let's continue.
So the senses, the five senses, they're not bad. They're amazing. But when you are allowing that sixth sense, that divine intervention, that inner knowing, that inner guidance, it broadens what I see. It guides me towards what I should be hearing. It helps me to smell what would be important in that moment. So when you are tapped into the gut and the body, it is helping everything else. We are not saying, oh, ignore your five senses. No, the five senses are amazing.
They're part of it.
But who's sitting on the throne? Because you will see things that you would not have noticed that are very important to sometimes your survival or your success when you listen to your gut. It's actually saying, hey, notice that. Hey, listen.
Right. We've talked about a book called The Gift of Fear. So in this context, fear being a gift. It was written by a gentleman named Gavin DeBecker, and it was something I was reading many years ago when I was a self-defense teacher. And he interviewed a lot of women who had been unfortunately attacked, raped. And he wanted to know at what point they knew that there was an imminent threat. And typically when he would ask the ladies, they would tell him, I didn't know. I didn't sense it. And he would investigate further and further and say, are you sure there wasn't anything out of the ordinary, or that you might have picked up on something visually, energetic, and like almost every single one of them, the more they got into just trying to recall beyond the trauma, I did think it was unusual that the latch was off on my gate. I could have sworn that I shut it. Now, you talked about the mind coming in and basically overriding what your intelligence system is giving you cues,
Yeah.
clues. And that's what we do. Some of you said that in the chat. I come in and I override it. I doubt it. I second guess myself. And this is the biggest interference with learning to read and develop intuition. So his point was, in the book, there was many beautiful teachings, but trust that intelligence of the body. And of course the mind. So should we continue?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about
I'll
the
tell
heart.
my story in a minute.
Okay. A heart center, another brain. We call this the brain of your being. Now, I think it was Darshana said earlier it was an inner knowing for her. Well, I would agree that that's how I like to think of it, as an inner being, an inner knowing. Heart Math Institute has done a lot of incredible research on the heart center being able to perceive information before the brain. That there is information in both directions coming at you, picking it up, perceptivity. And then there's the ability within to notice something.
Yeah.
That is a type of intuition that someone might call their inner knowing. There's a listening taking place. So it's inside and outside, form and formless.
Yep.
Listen to your form, listen to your heart, trust your heart, right? Follow your heart. How many times have we heard people say that? But what is that? That's a type of intuition.
Yeah. And what so many of us forget to do is ask your heart.
Asking, thank you.
Ask.
Yes. Give it permission
Ask.
to speak to you.
When I find myself sleepless over a problem that needs to be solved, or a situation that I am completely out of control of, maybe it's somebody else is having a physical illness and I'm worried about or whatever, I actually hand it over, and say, give me guidance, give me clarity. How may I best assist in this situation? I ask.
Yeah.
Show me, guide me, show me, guide me. And I let it go. Now, the letting it go is the hard part. Because as soon as you say that, there may be a part of this of your habit mind that goes, well, you should definitely not go back to sleep and figure this out and call all the neighbors and have them make food. And it's just a blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But the listening,
Critical
the
brain.
asking, then if you think about a conversation, right? Because I'm always seeking a conversation with my intuition. The intuition isn't a blabbermouth that never shuts up, nor should you be, right? So I think that sometimes that's the issue, is remember to ask, right? Ask and it is given. Ask. And then shut up, right? So what do I mean when I'm jokingly saying shut up? You got to quiet it down. You got to quiet everything else down so that you can notice and hear and be in tune. Because you want to be on the frequency. If you're talking about say your intuition is a certain radio station, and it's going to answer on that station. If you know your intuition is station 777, which is where I would want mine to be, then you better tune to 777 to hear the response. So you can't ask for here, what's 96.7 is like rock and roll. You can't ask for classical music on that station. So when you're asking your inner guidance for information, you're asking from this place of love, joy, all-knowingness. So you need to be in that frequency to hear it. And that's why the meditation practices are so important. And the clearing, all the Qigong, all of the clearing that we do, get rid of everything that isn't in alignment so that you can hear. Because it's two different things. Think about, I'm sure you've all experienced, you're out with a friend and they just don't stop talking and it doesn't feel like a conversation. And sometimes I think my intuition has felt like that. If you just shut up for a minute, Sabrina, I have an awful lot to say. But the intuition is very patient and it'll never interrupt you.
Too much noise.
Yeah, too much
noise so you can't hear it. Mm-hmm. That's really a beautiful teaching, because that's probably happening on so many levels to all of us. There's a lot of data. There's a lot of information that our brains are processing. There's also thought smog. We could go into that, like where you live and the people around, like the airwaves being pretty filled up. Mm-hmm. And there's not a lot of clear space and open focus for you to receive information. Mm-hmm. So remember I said earlier, there's external coming in and there's internal. There's two types of perceptivity. You really want to dial into that. We're going to get into that in a moment when we go up here. Yeah. But there's this ability to quiet the noise through meditation. So let's go up to the wisdom center now. The mind, right? Too Many Mind. The Last Samurai movie. Love that movie where the little boy is trying to help Tom Cruise character, and he's fighting the samurai in a match with wooden swords, and every time the samurai smacks him, and he's a good sword fighter, but he can't find the move, and the little boy's like, too many mind, too many mind. There's this moment, he closes his eyes, and he takes a deep breath. What was he doing? He was turning off the noise. He was opening the bandwidth, and then an intuition hit him. He saw the pattern that he should run, and it was a tie for the first time. Yep. So there's a wisdom within. There's the subconscious. There's the intelligence of the brain. There's the pineal gland, which is also receiving and broadcasting. That's a whole other conversation. But within this center, which I think most people, when they think of intuition, they probably think of it being up here. I got a download. I had an upload. I got an insight, right? And it landed here. We're saying it's the whole system. Why not fire on all three?
Yep.
Do your Qigong, get your power center healthy, get your body into a receptive listening place, trust that inner knowing, listen to the heart center, allow it to serve up wisdom, allow those drops to hit you, and be on all three.
Hey, I know when my friends want to get a hold of me, they might text me, email me, or call me. And they know if I need to get a hold of her, I'm probably going to just do all three. Well, that's how the intuition is. It's like, is it power center, heart center, wisdom center? I'm going to fire on all three to get her attention.
That's it.
So I was going to tell you a story. It's not a sad story. So as I tell it, don't be sad. But it really helped me understand the intuition voice and the logic voice having a little battle. And neither is bad, right? The subconscious mind and the voices are trying to help based on everything that you've known before, based on your experiences that you've known before, based on what it read before, based on what your parents told you. It's not trying to hurt. It's trying to help. It just isn't the all-wise consciousness that your intuition has that is beyond the senses.
And it can get into a reactive, fear-based place, and that's when it works against you.
Yeah. So I was in New York. I just turned 20 years old, and they were going to do a sequel to Grease. I'm like, what could be better, right? It was a Broadway show, and it was gonna be like a sequel to Grease, but it was all based in the 60s, and it was 5 girls and 5 boys. And at the time, I was singing and dancing and acting, and my agent was sending me to musical theater auditions, and that was a big part of what I was doing. And I got down to the last 2 people for 2 different roles. So if you compare it to Grease, maybe it was like Sandy and Frenchie, right? So it was a big deal, and it was at the Michael Bennett studio, if you know what that is, and like all the hot shots were there. And they got it down to the last 2, and then the next day was going to be on the stage. And the man that was there, the piano player that was playing, because you would have to sing not just by yourself, but with like the 4 other girls, and then all 10 of you, and then 2 of you, because they were looking for harmonizing.
When you say it, you won't say his name, right?
No.
Okay. Just a side note.
And so as the rehearsal ended, they were like, okay, come back tomorrow because it's going to be, everything's going to happen. And so the piano player, so I'm really young, and you know how when you're young, people just a little bit older seem really old. So in my memory, it's like, and this older man, let's say he was 40.
So old.
And he was this beautiful pianist, the musical director, and he said, hey, you're up for 2 roles, which meant I had to learn double the songs. If you want to come by, and I'll help you run through them so you do your best job tomorrow. And I didn't know that much. I just thought everybody is really nice and everybody helps each other. I had been there I had never left the state of Virginia until plop, I was in New York City doing acting. So just felt like Virginia. And I was taking singing lessons from an opera teacher, and many of them had these they don't have houses, but they don't just seem like apartments. Let's call them unbelievably beautiful apartments where when you first walk in, instead of a living room, they all have like these grand pianos, and that's where they do their work from, and then they live in the other parts. So I was really excited, and so I went to the guy's house, and like I said, I'm pretty new. I'm pretty new. It's unbelievable that I'm getting this far for 2 roles, and I'm just landed in New York. And so I start singing the parts, and he says little things to me like, I don't know if you're breathing correctly. And I'm like, oh, I'm probably not. I'm from Virginia. I don't know how to breathe in New York. Like, that's how innocent I was.
Oh.
And so he was telling me where to breathe. And then he came over and he goes, I can really help you. And he put his hands on my belly and was helping me breathe. And right away, now I was like also still a virgin at this time and hadn't really had experiences with men.
Let alone a man touch your body like that.
Yeah. And so he's touching my body and he's having me breathe. And I remember thinking, this is not like Virginia. Like, a man's not supposed to touch a woman like this. Well, I didn't even think I was young at the time. And then he said, oh, yeah, you're really not taking a deep breath, and it's hard to do standing up. And so he told me to lie down. Now, my brain's starting to go crazy, like, leave was my intuition. I think you should go now. But it was like, do you want this part or not? Are you ready to not be a little Southern girl from Virginia?
Here we go.
Do you really want to be an actress? Can you grow up? You're an adult now. This is art. This is art. Why are you trying to make it about something else? This is purely art. And what are you doing putting this slant on it? It's so unfair that you're judging this man who's just trying to help you. So that whole thing was going on. And it gets to the point where he unbuttons my shirt and he's trying to make sure that I'm not chest breathing. And then I was like, my brain kind of just got quiet for a minute. And I was like, well, regardless, I think I am just a little Virginian. And I said, I knew I needed to leave because I knew I was in danger. He was almost straddling me with his hands on my upper chest. And I just said, oh, what time is it? And whatever he said, 6:30, I go, oh, I've got a Coca-Cola audition in 30 minutes. Can I run there and then come back to pick this up where we are? Because I think it's really helping me. I knew I needed to spin it so that he would let me go and kind of be excited that I was coming back. So I was smart enough to do that, and then I left. Of course, I didn't go back.
That's so scary.
But that moment of back and forth, I really didn't know what to believe, because the brain part that was judging me so much for judging this man, but what was that based on? That was based on my experience up until I was 20 years old. You know, my family was little country folk, right? Country folk, and you're kind and you're good and you're all
People
church
don't do
people.
things like that.
People would never do. They would never do that. Why am I even thinking about that? And the parts of me that were insecure, that I wasn't really an artist and I was judging this person because he was so high up on the scale. Well, what ended up happening is the budget. They lost the budget and the show never went to the stage. So they put it on hold the next day. After all that happened, I remember thinking, did that whole thing just happen for me?
That's like a story out of the book, The Gift of Fear, but she trusted that inner knowing, that guy, that fear. Let's call it fear. I mean, it was concern. It was genuine, like, this isn't right. And you did the right thing, and that's so important. And I love...
Probably should have done it sooner, but that was
you were
my lesson,
innocent.
so I can tell you guys.
In a lot of ways, we're all innocent. We don't know what we don't know. And so we have to learn to trust that there is a knowing. And you were talking earlier about the blending, right? The blending. And there's the I am Tristan, and then I am Source. And I think it's really important to know that Source is working in our lives, the divine, God, in a blended way. And the way it's speaking to us is through our body, through our intuition, through our soul center, the heart. Mm-hmm. And it's a gift. It's a gift of love, though. It doesn't have to be fear-based. Trust from a place of love that you are protected. Have that intention that you will be shown, you will be guided. It will be revealed. Lee said earlier, you'll see a sign, right? You'll be shown something, a symbol. Like really, right now, make a pact with yourself that you will trust yourself. Because people talk about the small, still voice within, and how do I know if it's my soul or if it's my mind? How about we just drop that and freaking trust? Take care of your body temple, clean up the dysfunctions and the disruptions and the too many mind, be a conscious, aware, awake human being, and then just fully trust that thing.
Yep.
And allow it to guide you in every way, in business opportunities, in relationships, in scary situations, in all the things. That's what we teach as Satori. It's the art of awakening your consciousness and your health and your energy so you can live this beautiful life and use it in situations like this.
Yep.
Right? Like that.
You know, when I write emails to you guys from us, if I'm the one writing them, it's we. Hey, just a reminder, we're doing this and we're doing that. As this person I have an intimate relationship with, if we're invited to a party, I usually write back, hey, we're coming, even if I'm doing the writing, or you do the same thing, we. So that's what I've been doing with the blended, is to try to get rid of the languaging of I am connecting to something else, or it's me and my intuition is over there.
That's the way.
What if it's a we?
It's a we.
What if it's we?
That's it. It's right there. It's a union
Isn't that
of you and your
it.
source as one.
We.
Feel about how powerful that just makes you right now. Like if you would just step into that and trust that.
Have that relationship. Claim that relationship as yours.
Full on. Give it permission. Don't second guess. Drop the doubter, right? Believe in yourself. Know that you have this wisdom within you, that you are this wisdom. Like fully embrace that. How freaking awesome is that? How powerful you are and how protected we are. That's the vibration I want to be in because that's what I'm emanating.
Yeah. And I
that's
think
what's coming back.
That sometimes when we've talked about affirmations and how if your mind doesn't believe it, it's kind of a waste of time, right? People are like, I am confident, but they don't feel that at all. They really feel like I am insecure. It would be better to say, I'm getting more confident every day. But I notice that as soon as I get rid of that separation and it's we, I so much can step into like, we are confident. And I feel that way, like if I had to come and do this show by myself, I would feel different than I feel that we are doing it together because I know it's going to be easy. It's going to be back and forth. I have something to say. He has something to say. It's a conversation. It's a relationship.
That's so cute. They're all saying, we love this. You guys, you're there. We love it.
Yes. So some of you took a program with us called the Ninja or the Coach program. You guys are still in it. And we talked about noticing your relationship with money. I'm not going to go into that, but it was so powerful to realize that we have a relationship with everything that changes our thoughts about it. So maybe looking at what is your relationship with your intuition? Do you feel like I can't ever hear you? Where are you? Or do you feel like I love sitting with you? I love us. I love being in a relationship with you. You make me feel safe. And start nurturing that idea of your relationship, and that will become your reality. Ask, ask, ask. Ask and know. Ask and love. That would be more it. Ask and then love. Love your intuition. Love it. Be grateful when you have a hunch. When you have a little feeling, go, awesome, thank you. I've got that. I even feel it sometimes when it's like, what do you want to eat? Hey, do you want to go out? No. You want to go out? Yeah.
It's an art of listening.
Yeah.
Ask and listen.
And it's not just big things, it's everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
That's what we love about energy and energy work and self-care. Self-care is soul care. There's your new meme. It's so beautiful to be tapped into the intelligence of your soul. You're here in soul school. You're a soul on a mission. And your soul's got you.
Yep.
This blended soul source, it's so beautifully taking care of, guiding, protecting you. And I love this conversation as you guys are sharing how much you love Thursday nights. And we love being here with you. And, we start usually after this session. What do you think we could share next week? And then we have 5 or 6 days to percolate and listen. And that's the key. We're listening to our community. Yeah. Sometimes we're listening through the chat. We're using our senses, our visual, and we're taking it in, but we're also listening.
Yeah.
And that's so important, because we had many ways the show could go tonight. We were just like, let's listen, and there's a we happening here, and then this was meant to be.
Our wees were weeing.
We were weeing. Wee wee.
We all the way home. If you think about your life, we were talking about this earlier, historically, have you ever regretted following a gut feeling, following a hunch, following your intuition? I'm going to say no. But so many stories where people do regret it. So even if sometimes you feel silly, I'll have myself do simple things. That do not matter at all, and then I'll go with whatever I think. I've told you I do this sometimes when I'm putting an image in an email. I'll just say, how many pixels wide should it be? 483. Okay, 483. Makes no sense at all. But I'm trying to practice going with the first thing.
Yes, that's beautiful. All right, friends. Thank you for all your incredible shares that came through. For those of you who want to catch the replay, it does go on to the Trisbrina Show page on our website, satorimethod.com/show. And then you can get on the Trisbrina notification list. That's on our website, satorimethod.com, right at the bottom of the page. And we will send you updates as to when we're going to go live. That way you won't ever miss a Trisbrina show.
Whee!
All right, y'all.
Hey, Deb, I love that too. Ask and love.
Ask and love.
Not ask and wait. Ask and love. Love is just the most powerful magnet.
Beautiful. We love you all.
Yeah, thanks for showing up.
May your intuition just be absolutely off the charts in the most beautiful way. Until next week, much love.